Hi, my name's Megan Wayne, and I'll be talking to you about syllables and affixes stage. Your students should be at the intermediate stage of reading and writing, which is the fourth stage of spelling and reading. How do I know when my student's at this stage? Students in the syllables and affixes stage are typically middle to upper elementary students. And you should notice that your students are starting to consider spelling patterns where syllables meet. Students at this stage use a more sophisticated decoding system by breaking words into syllabic units. At this stage, students operate within the aorist consolidated alphabetic phase, where they use larger chunks to decode spelling and store words to memory. At this stage, they either analyze words as syllabic chunks, such as un, hap, e, or they analyze as morphemic chunks, unhappy. You can help students learn where these syllable and morphemic breaks occur in words so that they can use the appropriate chunks to read, spell, and determine the meaning of multiple syllable words. The information that I'll be using today is from the Words Their Way text in order to help you understand the stage that your student's at and how you can best help them and accelerate their learning. Writing at this stage focuses on words trying to convey meaning. You will likely hear your child's voice in their writing at this stage, as they are able to use more than just the basic vocabulary or sight words. Reading at this stage is your child's primary source for new vocabulary. At this point, they've picked up all of the vocabulary from common conversation, and they'll be using their texts and reading resources to pick up new vocabulary, which we'll talk about next. It is important that you encourage reading to help your child's vocabulary grow, because this is where they will be expanding and picking up the most vocabulary from this point on. For vocabulary, there's typically 3 tiers of vocabulary. Tier 1 is the basic vocabulary, which your student should already know at this stage. Tier 2 is the academic words. These do not necessarily need to be defined. Instead, use these words in context regularly because this lets students know why and how these words are needed. Lastly is Tier 3. These are domain-specific words, which are specialized vocabulary associated with specific subject areas. These words are typically bolded in the textbooks. Remember, most reading vocabulary encountered in content areas is developmentally ahead of the spelling vocabulary. You can help your student at this stage by developing a positive attitude about words, learning to help enhance their word consciousness. When helping your student expand their vocabulary by learning new words, start by activating any background knowledge they might have about the unknown words. Explain in basic terms what the word means and give examples of similar words. You can even take this one step further by discussing examples of words that do not follow the root word meaning. Morphemic awareness is probably one of the most effective means of developing and extending your students' vocabulary knowledge. Morphemic analysis is the process of breaking down the words in terms of meaning units or morphemes. Morphemes are the meaning units in the spelling of words, such as prefixes, suffixes, and bases. Examining how the word elements combine to make words and breaking down those same word elements and searching for meaning is the best way for your student to understand words and expand their vocabulary. You can help them by pointing out root words and the affixes. showing them that the affixes, the prefixes and suffixes, usually have similar meanings for similar words, and then combining it with the bases or the root word helps them to understand how words are formed and put together, and how they can figure out words' meaning by knowing already what the prefixes and suffixes mean, and then they just have to work through the root word to figure out that. When helping your child with their morphemic awareness, start with the word. Look at it. What are the meaningful parts? Take away the prefixes and the suffixes. Now you should be left with the base. What is a related word? Reassemble the word with each piece's meaning in mind. Try out the meaning of the word in a sentence. Does it make sense with the meaning you assigned it? If it doesn't make sense in context, try to look it up in the dictionary, or have your student look it up in the dictionary. Write it down and keep a log of these words and their meanings so that your students can use that to go back and study to remember and memorize these words. You should understand and help your student understand that some words just cannot be broken down this way in order to decipher their meaning. In that case, refer to a dictionary. Not all words can easily be figured out. Inflectional endings these do not change the base word. Rather, they change the number or the tense of the word. Inflectional endings or suffixes are s, ed, ing, er, est. The challenging part for your students when learning inflectional endings is when do you double the final consonant of the base word when adding ing or ed. This is for when they're spelling the words, not so much reading or understanding the words. You can help your student by understanding and knowing the rule that when adding a suffix beginning with a vowel to a base word with a single vowel followed by a single consonant. And there are, of course, exceptions to this rule, as to every rule, but you can try and teach your student by remembering the rule of 1, 1, 1. One syllable, one vowel, one consonant. You should double it. Compound words at the syllables and affixes stage is one of the easier ones to help your student understand. This shows your student that you can combine words that they already know to help build their vocabulary. It helps them to build on their knowledge of syllables, as they are at least 2 syllables, most of these words. This compound words reinforces the spelling of high frequency words. To help your student at this stage, help them brainstorm to list as many new words as possible that share the same base words. Sometimes this is easier and sometimes they come up with nonsense words. But help them by showing them examples. Pan and cake equals pancake. Cup and cake equals cupcake. So you can use the base words and try and use one constant to add the words to it to help them develop new words. Your students' understanding of syllable patterns can help them when trying to sound out, pronounce, and spell words. By helping your student, try and teach them that open syllables, a consonant and a vowel, end with the long vowel sound. Closed syllables, which is a consonant, enclosing a vowel with another consonant, contain a short vowel sound, closed between 2 consonants. This will help with their pronunciation and spelling, because knowing these will help understand the words and that they can be completely different words if they aren't following these patterns. In conclusion, you can help your student at this stage by creating sorts based on the different types of words and inflections and morphemes that we've just gone over. You can use the syllable patterns so that they can separate them based on long and short vowel sounds. You can also create a list for students to look up in the dictionary or other online sources to understand their meanings. Working with your students and helping them understand words, look up words, and break down words at this stage is going to be the most beneficial to them to expanding their vocabulary and growing their knowledge of words and words' meanings. So, good luck working with your student and stay tuned for the next stage and how to help your student.